Today we'll take you to one of the most beautiful and historically significant regions of the Peloponnese, to Argolis. The air here smells of mandarins and oranges, and the waters are azure and teeming with fish. Here you'll find some of the most picturesque places in Greece. Argolis is a region south of Corinthia. The biggest cities here are Argos and Nafplio, the former capital of Greece and perhaps one of the most visited Greek cities among tourists. But Nafplio, though it is undoubtedly magnificent, is not where we want to take you today. Instead, we'll take you a bit further southeast to Tolo, a small village hidden from Nafplio behind a range of steep hills. To get to Tolo by land, you can take a bus from Athens to Nafplio and another from Nafplio to Tolo. The buses are reliable and run on a fixed schedule. Although Homer first mentions the area in the Iliad, the village's more modern history begins around 1830. During the Byzantine era, the area served as a backup harbor of Nafplio and later became a popular summer getaway for locals. After the fall of the Byzantine Empire in 1204, the region, like the rest of the Peloponnese, came under Frankish control. In 1389, it was taken over by the Venetians, who later handed it over to the Ottomans in 1540 through a treaty. Later on, when the Venetians teamed up with the Germans and Poles against the Ottomans, their commander, Antinavos Morozzinis, was instructed to lay siege to Nafplio, the then capital of the Peloponnese. To support his campaign, he chose the Gulf of Tolo as a safe harbor for his troops and used the beach as a military base. After the Greek Revolution in 1821, efforts were made to help people who had been forced to flee their homes and find safety in what was then free Greece. In Tolo, land was given to refugees from Crete who were escaping violent crackdowns by the Egyptian ruler Muhammad Ali, who had been given control of the island in return for helping the Ottomans. In 1834, a royal decree officially established a town at Tolo's harbor. The town was named Minoa in honor of the legendary Cretan king. Once Crete was freed, some of those refugees stayed and formed a small village. In 1916, this village became known as Tolo. The refugees were granted a small house worth no more than 300 drachmas and agricultural plot of 30-50 acres of land, an oaks, and the necessary agricultural tools to cultivate the land. However, the land they were granted was barren, and to survive, they turned to the wealth of the sea. To this day, fishing is one of the main occupations of the inhabitants of Tolo. Today, Tolo is a charming little tourist resort loved by travelers from around the world. The entire village consists of a bunch of streets, mainly steep and winding, with one main street, Boubulinas Street, that runs across the entire village. It's on this street where most shops, offices, bars, cafes and restaurants are situated. Here you can find a lot of places to buy souvenirs and local delicacies. Most businesses here are family-run and owners are very hospitable and friendly. The restaurants and taverns with the most picturesque views are not on the main street but rather along the seashore. They offer a wide selection of seafood and other tasty Greek dishes. The owners place their tables right on the beach, so you can eat fresh seafood with the waves crashing right next to your feet. At the western edge of the village, there is a little charming harbor with many fishing boats. It's a great place to rest under the canopy of pines and bougainvilleas watching the boats and seagulls. There are 3 uninhabited islands in the Bay of Tolo. The smallest one is Koronisi. There is the Church of the 12 Apostles on the island. The biggest island is called Romvi and is full of important antiquities dating back from the 6th to the late 10th century Anno Domini. Behind Romvi Island, there is another small island, Daskalio. There are ruins of medieval fortifications and the small Byzantine church of Zodohospigi on this island. There are excursion boats that depart from here to Idra and Spaxis, as well as to these islands in the Bay of Tolo. On the other eastern edge of the village, there is a beautiful lone sandy beach awarded with the blue flag of 2024. To the northeast of the beach, there is another place worth seeing, the Acropolis of Ancient Assini. Ancient Assini is about 1 kilometer northeast of Tolo and is easy to get to on foot or by bike. By the way, you can easily rent one in Tolo. There are also several car rentals in the village. The prices are a bit higher than in Athens, but if you rent a car, you'll be able to visit even more great places on the peninsula and in the whole of Argolis. To get to Ancient Assini from Tolo, go to the end of the beach and then up the main road for about 15 minutes. On your way, you'll see a more secluded beach of Kastraki. Right above the beach, on a rocky promontory, there will be the archaeological site of Ancient Assini. There is an organized route up and around the promontory. The views from up there that open up to Tolo and the islands in the bay are stunning. Archaeological evidence shows that people lived in the area more or less continuously from the early Bronze Age, around the start of the 3rd millennium BC, up until the late Roman period around the 4th century AD. Archaeologists have discovered houses from the Hellenistic period, 3rd to 1st century BC, along with water cisterns and olive presses, both on the Acropolis and in the lower town. Hellenistic-era graves have also been uncovered nearby. The settlement at Assini remained active during Roman times, and visitors can still see the remains of Roman baths from the 5th to 7th century AD in the lower town, near the charming chapel of Panagia. Most of the discoveries from the excavations at Assini are housed in the Archaeological Museum of Nafplio. Some of the discoveries from the excavations of the 1920s are now in Sweden, as the Swedes conducted archaeological excavations in those years. To the east of the promontory, there is another great beach that stretches far east. If you rent a bike, as it is a bit too far for a journey on foot, you can ride to the nearby villages of Drepano and Vivari. As I have already mentioned, there are cruises from Tolo to the islands of Spetses and Hydra. The cruises start running in April. Last year, the cruise cost €42 per person. They depart as early as 8 in the morning and return around 7 p.m. The cruise will take you first to Hydra, a very cozy and atmospheric pedestrian island, and then to Spetses. You'll have several hours on each island to walk around, have lunch, and swim in the turquoise waters of the Argolis Gulf. Of course, you can get to these islands from Piraeus, the main port of Greece situated in Greater Athens, but if you happen to be in Tolo, don't miss your chance to take this cruise. I promise it is worth the money and time. Tolo is a small village where you can relax your soul and body. This place offers everything you need for a memorable and enjoyable holiday, whether you're staying for a couple of days or a couple of weeks. Still, if you do get bored or need something in the big city, you can easily go to Nafplio, as there is a regular CTEL bus from Tolo to Nafplio and back. The bus runs every 2 hours from 7 a.m. till 10 p.m. and costs €2. It gets you to the very heart of Nafplio, to Polizoidou Street, from where you can walk the narrow streets of the old town enjoying the views. Unfortunately, you can't easily get from Tolo to Nafplio either on foot or on a bike, as there is no civil route that would connect the two. Well, you can walk on foot to Nafplio, but you'll have to go across the hills that surround Tolo, literally making your way through the thickets of thorn bushes, which, believe me, is neither a pleasant nor a safe hike. But if you're adventurous and reckless enough, you can get from Tolo to Paralia Carathonas this way. It's a lovely lone beach with which the hiking route around Nafplio ends. You'll need an hour to get here from Nafplio, but from Tolo, Well, you may spend half of the day wandering up and down those hills, and there will always be some goats or sheep around, so beware of the shepherd dogs. Tolo is a perfect destination for a vacation if you seek calm and peace. With its crystal clear waters, stunning natural scenery, and friendly locals, Tolo has long been recognized as one of the top vacation spots in Argolis and the Peloponnese. It's very quiet here, but at the same time, there are lots of things to do and see, so you won't be bored even if you come for a month or two. Here, you can go sailing, water skiing, windsurfing, kite surfing, and scuba diving. You can rent a paddle boat or a small motorboat and go fishing or visit the islands of the bay. And if you are into history, it's also not far from the ancient sites of Epidabros, Mycenae, Monemvasia, Argos, and, of course, Nafplio. I hope this video inspired you to come to Greece, to Tolo, to see it with your own eyes. See you in the next video.